And the eyes come up at this point as the fire of the Kundalini begins to coalesce into that seed point of hum. And this is the point where we want to really focus that third letter. So if you will, if you like. Okay, so we begin then with brief pranayama, and this is the typical practice that's ideal and is given typical but overwhelmingly common, given for preparation for the Ucchāra is 3-part pranayama. So we begin then first again by taking a moment to check in with our posture. Is our asana, our throne, steady and focused? Are we slouching over, or is there that nice curve in the lower lumbar vertebrae that we've gone through in the last few webinars? What we want to do then is to create a gentle lock, even if we need to push up our sitting bones by some pillows, blankets, or even to sit in a chair if there's too much pinching in the knees. But the key is to keep a posture that allows the chin to drop, but still stay relatively parallel to the floor or the bed or the cushion that you're sitting upon. So rounding of the back blocks the flow of this current upward, and indeed the energy of our ability energetically to draw that kumbhaka downward as well. So we want to keep that gentle curve then. And an optional mudra, which we'll go into more, particularly in our satsang discussion and practice next Wednesday. This is chin mudra, consciousness mudra. And I like to do double chin mudra, where the second knuckles of both fingers come together. And then exhaling gently, I rest my hands with the wrists on the inner thighs down in my, let's see here, down just below Manipura chakra, right? So there's no tension up here in the shoulders. Rather, there's a nice softness and also in the jaw. And finally, we get to the passage I've discussed so much. This is the point where we take the so-called divine posture, the Divya Karana, ancient, utterly imperative, considered to be the most important karana posture, because when we make the body straight and extend the tongue up just a little bit into the space of the mouth, doesn't touch the palate, and the mouth and 2 lips are allowed to release, and we're in that phase of relaxation, which is really a phase that automatically, psychosomatically disengages the grip of the mind on our words. Disengages the grip of the mind, which is time-bound according to the Tantras. Don't take their word for it. Disengage that grip of the mind on our words. So, without going into too much philosophy on that point, we must come to recognize the way our mind works in terms of the adage, which is the solid definition of yoga. Yoga is the state that arises when the activity of the mind suddenly or gradually ceases, or rather comes to quiescence. And by mind, it means chinta in Sanskrit. Emotionally generating thoughts. Thoughts that are not mindfulness, but rather thoughts that are not full of mindful presence, but rather are directed in the only place thoughts can go, past and future, planning and revising, fantasy, and perhaps regrets. All the different categories of time-bound awareness are eventually what cause the darkness to appear, according to the Tantras. And we have, as it were, locked our own soul essence in this body, which gradually ages, gets sick, and dies. And this starts because our mind grips us, grips our base awareness, and focuses it out here in the direction of time and space, and in the world of duality and constant change. Tantric seeks to go beyond that delusion that this is the only reality there is, and to seek to find what the mystics celebrate. First, by taking the posture that opens that transcendence, that light we talked about in the last webinar of Sahasrara. The yogin's gaze is not drift or dart all around. This is the divine posture. So eyes are half closed or all the way closed, and gently and gradually, particularly as the sounds rise, we're going to let our eyes come to the place where they rest. when we're sleeping. This is a natural position. The jaw is released. If you notice the jaw closing as we chant the letters of Om in a moment, if you notice the jaw closing, that's because typically the mind is pulling us into time. Even if it's a real primal urge to plan, think, and even to overanalyze what we're doing. This is a practice that goes beyond conceptuality, of course. Right? So we take the divine posture with three-part pranayama. I invite you to take your right hand and with the two middle fingers, gently press